Hi, I'm Nick Reitzel, and today I'll be reviewing the 2013 Acura RDX Tech Package. Brand new vehicle. We love it. It's sportier. It's got a better engine, a refined interior, and we're here to tell you about it today. First, I'd like to talk about the exterior appeal on the Acura RDX. As you can notice, there are many changes here. First, you've got the wheels. They're very nice. Acura black brake calipers. That's a nice touch. Makes it look sporty. As you can see, the Acura's kind of lost the big point in the front. They've refined it to just a smaller point. It looks pretty good. And one of the big differences between this and the old one is it's much bigger. It's got a longer wheelbase. It's got some nice exterior trim right here. Door guards, roof rails, all this is going to come standard in the RDX. If you come around and take a look at the back, you can notice one thing that's different about this car is that you can't see the exhaust pipes, which gives it this kind of cool bumper on the edge here, and it looks pretty good from the back. You can see there's minimal chrome here. It's just a solid looking car, nothing too fancy. One of the biggest changes about the 2013 RDX is the engine. It's refined. Its predecessor had a 2-liter turbo. Here we've got a V6, putting out about 273 horsepower. A very smart engine because it's very economical. 2028 on the MPG here. Still getting a lot of power down, and since this is a lightweight SUV, it's pretty quick. It's a great engine and a good design. Back in the 2013 RDX here, gonna spotlight some of the interior features before we take it on a quick test drive. As you noticed when I started that up, that this car is a push start, which is nice because it looks simple in here, yet elegant. You got some of those luxury features. Leather standard, heated seats standard, dual climate control standard. That stuff's going to be standard. However, you're not going to have wood standard, and you're not going to have full auto seats standard. In the driver cockpit, it's pretty nice. You've got paddle shifters, and you've got sport mode, and you've got traction control. All this is going to be nice when you're on the road and you're driving through various conditions. Steering wheel is one of the highlights of this car. As you notice, all the buttons are on the steering wheel. Bluetooth, cruise control, and the most impressive feature here is voice command. All you do is press this button, tell the car what you want it to do, and it will do it for you. If you say gasoline, it'll pull up gas stations. If you say play rock music, it'll play rock music. Maybe even Nickelback if that's in your library. If you look at some of the storage in this car, it's pretty plentiful for the size. Open up here, you've got a compartment here, which has your aux cord and your iPod cord. Center compartment here, glove box. Side compartment's very spacious, and even spacious enough for a small samurai sword. Because this is a Japanese car, you will probably have one of these in there. One of the last things I want to talk about in this car is I just want to go over some of the technology besides voice command, is that it's got GPS here, and it does have seat memory and stuff like that. You're also going to have a sunroof standard. All these features come standard, just some of the features like wood, as I mentioned, aren't going to come standard. So it's a pretty nice interior. Another main difference in this RDX versus the predecessors is that you're going to have a lot of room in the back seats. If you sat in the previous RDX back seats or you sat in an X3's back seats, you know that there's not that much room back there, and if you have kids or you're constantly carrying passengers, that's normally going to be a problem. But here, it's been refined. You've got plenty of leg room, you've got a storage, cup holders here. The only complaint with this back seats is it does not have air conditioning in the back seats, which is kind of a drawback for this car. You'd expect a luxury car to have that. X3s, X5s, RXs, they're all going to have that feature. This car does not. Let's take a look at the load space in this RDX. As you notice, this is an automatic lift gate. However, you have to have the technology package to get that. Another drawback, that technology package, $4 grand. You're going to be dropping 4 G's just to get a lift gate, and that's pointless. One of the things I do like about the trunk, though, is you got a lot of storage for this size SUV. If you're familiar with crossovers or an X3 or even some of the larger SUVs, they don't have that much trunk space. Here, you see we do have it. Another feature, if you're a soccer mom or something, you're probably going to be hauling around furniture a lot. And that's an inconvenience when you're driving this size car. Acura fixed that right here. All you have to do, pull that lever, seats drop down, fold flat, and you can get a leather sofa in here. Now, again, size here is nice. You've got plenty of room. And this is where you can carry your large samurai sword. So if you're Japanese and the zombie apocalypse hits, you're ready to roll. Back in the RDX here, just a few minutes ago I emphasized the features that come standard on the RDX. I want to talk about a few things that go with the technology package because that's a popular option on this car. The main thing here is this key. And because it's a remote start, you might get it lost like I just did. But you're given 2 keys at the dealer. One, driver 1, and then driver 2. Once you put in driver 1 key, all the settings, climate, music, seat memory, are all going to be set specific to that key, and that's important. Another thing is this impressive backup cam that has lines on it when you're moving back for 3 feet, 6 feet, and what you're about to just run over now. It might be a small child, but that's why they put the backup cam in here. Finally, I just want to emphasize the GPS, because that's an option. I talked about it briefly earlier, but that's a huge improvement in this car, and most of you will want to go technology package because that's going to increase the resale value tremendously. Hi, I'm Nick Reitzel, and I'm going to take the RDX for a quick test drive. We know the interiors are fine, we know the engine is much improved, but let's see how it drives on the road. You might have noticed there when I put this in gear that the park brake is a foot park brake over here, which is different because this is a little bit sportier car. You know, the LR2 has got a hand park brake, X3 has got a hand park brake. Not a big deal. One of the things I want to highlight about this RDX is the ride comfort. It's a very comfortable car. Not a lot of road noise here, and the ride is very smooth. You can be going on the interstate and you'll be going 75, 80 miles an hour, and you're going to feel like you're going 60 miles an hour just because this car is super smooth. It's still not going to give you that boat-like feel, though, of a Lexus. The BMW X3, I would say, is this main competitor, and they're pretty similar. The RDX here is a little bit bigger, it rides a little bit softer, it's got a little bit more technology. It just doesn't have that sporty feel that you might need in that X3. The Acura, though, has upped their game when it comes to sportiness. As you can see, they've outfitted this interior with paddle shifters. Sport mode, they're pretty nice. I mean, it's not going to be a BMW here, but it's going to feel pretty good. As you see, acceleration's pretty perky, because as I said earlier, it does have a 273 horsepower V6, which is much improved from its 220 horsepower flat 4. So it's a pretty powerful car. But one of the best things about this car is that it's going to remain economical even with all that power. Averaging 20-28, which is nice. And that's for the 4-wheel drive version. This 2-wheel drive version, 21-28. That's pretty incredible if you think about the size of this car. And that's where this car has an edge over the X3 and the Lexus RX. Next thing I want to talk about is price. Price of this car, it's pretty good actually, 35 grand. Now that's going to be a little bit more expensive than the CR-V or the RAV4, actually a lot more expensive. But it's going to be a lot less than the Land Rover LR2, about 5 grand. About 5 grand cheaper from the base X3, which has a smaller engine and gets worse gas mileage. And it's going to be about 6 grand cheaper than the Lexus RX with a few features on it. If you go base, about 4 grand cheaper. So this car remains cheap for luxury, a little bit more expensive than some of its other standard smaller SUVs. Finally, I want to talk about the reliability on this car. You might have heard the Left Lane team talk about the reliability of Toyota or Hondas before, but we just can't emphasize it enough. When you're buying a car, especially an SUV that you're going to be keeping for a while, reliability is extremely important, service cost extremely important. And this is where the Acura shines compared to a Mercedes, BMW. The maintenance is very cheap and the reliability is solid on this car. It's a Honda-based SUV, got a Honda engine in it. It's going to be solid, and it's going to last you a long time. And at the same time, while it's going to last you a long time, you're not going to be paying a lot for it. To conclude, the 2013 Acura RDX is a phenomenal choice for those of you entering the small SUV market. It's a luxury SUV that's not going to break the bank. Acura has bridged the gap between luxury and practicality, and they've done it very well in this new RDX. It's much better than the old one, and go take a look at it. Thank you. I'm about to go do some furniture shopping in this 2013 RDX, because that's what it's built for. IKEA!